And
Here we
there
go.
we go. You do like the countdown. I don't think anyone else gets to see that, unfortunately.
Nobody
Which is a
sees that.
shame.
I love
That's
that. If
just
we
for
could have
us.
that included, because behind the scenes we have a countdown: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we go live. It's really cool.
Hey
So Carl,
guys,
I've got my coffee. I'm ready for this conversation.
got my water. Hey, one of first of many conversations.
First of many conversations. So what's this about? Because some people know us, some people don't know us. In this wide world of the internet, I don't even know what the statistic is for how many YouTube videos are live streamed or uploaded onto YouTube right now. But what are we doing here?
I can get you the statistics. I'm your man for that kind of thing. But we are. I guess we're formalizing what we do on a day-to-day basis anyway. We'll talk about our backgrounds, but we do have these kind of discussions about digital marketing, about business. So we've decided that in this particular climate, this particular time where everybody's stuck at home, we're going to start broadcasting our discussions that myself, Kyle, and Harminder have about business, about digital marketing, and hopefully, and this is the plan, we're going to be able to talk about topics that are going to be useful for business owners out there.
Yeah, and I think the title of the show is bbo.show. And what that means is building businesses online. So building businesses online is quite a broad term, and I guess it can mean applying digital marketing tactics, tools, techniques, principles to your current business, whether it's offline or online. I guess it doesn't make a difference. Online business could be literally having a purely business based completely online where there's no offline interaction whatsoever. It could be a hybrid in between. So there's going to be a whole mixture of stuff, I guess, we discuss going forward. And we're going to have the format loosely in the form of it's almost like think of seasons, but the season is shrunk down into the week. So each week we're going to have a different focus. So rather than spend 2.5, 3 hours, 4 hours with you on this live stream, which we could, but that's also not convenient for ourselves as well, because we're going to be hopefully doing this every day at 12 o'clock. And I would like to be done by 1 so I can actually have some food. That's where we're at, which is that the coffee will try make me get through that process.
It's also to make sure that this remains accessible to people out there, because not everybody's going to want to sit down and listen to 3 hours worth of online and digital marketing advice. It's just, I mean, I don't think I would, so I don't know why anyone else would want to
exactly.
do that.
And I think the intention here is to make it really actionable. So if we can give you some actionable principles, change your mindset around online business or marketing, give you something which is a tool or technique, and you're like, I can actually apply that. I mean, we was interviewing a fantastic lady based on her business, which actually ties into what we're talking about today. And she took some great nuggets. And she said, the moment I finish this conversation with you guys, I'm going to implement it immediately. I'm going to go explore this. So that was fantastic. And I think hopefully we can have that kind of impact on people listening. If you're listening and you've got a question, we will be streaming this on YouTube, Facebook. I don't know where else. Where else are we going to stream this?
Twitch and, well, LinkedIn when it's ready. And I'm also looking at doing it on Instagram, but that is tricky.
Yeah, Instagram is, and we can go into that discussion in future. Instagram is tricky too.
But the main places will be YouTube and Facebook.
Fantastic. Live. So if you're watching this live or you're watching this post live, in the description below, we're going to have a link, and the link is actually to a private Slack channel. It's completely free, where you can actually ask myself and Carl questions, because the temptation is for us to dive in. And I think we've always been adverse to this, where social media is a fantastic tool, but it can zap away your time. So if I go in to answer your questions, say in the comments on Facebook, Instagram, and people have different opinions on this, I could then get sucked into the vortex of Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, where I'm looking at other things. I'm looking at the notifications. I'm having a look at what my friends are saying. And that is a dangerous place to be. So the Slack group is focused. It's purely around everything we're talking about. And I think that's where we'd like to keep it for now.
Yeah, very quickly, for people who don't know what Slack is, it's a messaging application often used by businesses, teams that need to communicate with each other. So it's a bit like WhatsApp, but a lot more structured. So we use it with our teams, and a lot of companies do as well. It's free to use, free to sign up, and free to access our community. And it's just a way of keeping everything a bit more organized. Because if we were to use WhatsApp, it's chaos. You just have hundreds of messages coming at you at a time, and there's no way to prioritize. If we were to use the comments below the video, then we're split over lots of different places, and comments and videos, it tends to be people not necessarily yelling at each other, but one person stating a fact and then someone else jumping in and giving their opinion, and then someone else jumping in, and it's not a very organic, fluid conversation.
They'll be talking about things like why are Harms and Carl dressed exactly the same today, like things like that. I just realized
too.
I've got a black t-shirt. That's the kind of stuff that happens. Whereas the serious people who want to have a conversation with us and have a genuine question off the back of this, come hang out in the Slack group. I think that's that is better for you as well, more productive. So let's dive into the start of this week, and this week's focus, which is I've got some notes in the background as well, which is we want to keep it topical and try not to avoid the conversation that's happening right now, which is coronavirus. And the easiest thing to do is bury your head in the sand. And what I would say is no business owner typically does that, but a business owner would have got to a point, or whether you're a startup or whatever it is, and you already have something within you which is going to win this battle. But in that comes a different kind of feeling, which is, oh my God, right? Say, for example, I'm a certain type of industry or company. How do we even get out of this? We've got some really smart people internally. I'm smart as my business owner as such. I just don't know a way out of this without just completely being suspended in time as such. That's almost how I feel sometimes. I'm just suspended in time, which is why me and Carl had a conversation and said, let's do this. Let's do something proactive, which is helpful for the community. So what we're going to do is focus on a primary niche, which we feel is massively affected right now. And Carl, what's the niche that we're going to explore today?
Sure. So it is going to be a niche, but this is going to be generally applicable. Really it doesn't really matter what your business is, because we're all being hit right now. But what we're going to be focusing on, in particular this week, are people, businesses, individuals who offer classes and events where they're getting people into a physical space and providing a service. So easy examples are people like yoga teachers or a personal trainer, these kind of physical businesses.
And also physical events that, they have I'm involved in, sales orientated events where there's physical live events where you're teaching people live, like they come to a live workshop. A couple of months ago, they came to our live workshop, or a month ago actually, and it stopped immediately because we're no more live events. Just
behind the scenes there, we've just launched our own workshop. So we're getting people into a room and teaching them how to do online business digital marketing. We did one, and then coronavirus hit. It's like, well, that's that then.
That's that then. So we've just taken it online, and that's one of the first steps, I guess, you can do. But so this week's focus is going to be on live events. And the initial conversation today, rather than get right into the idea of how do I market to people, how do I shift, it's really going to be around the business, I guess, the business economic model or the business model. Would that be fair to say?
Yep. So we're going to be following a framework that we use with clients and with our own businesses. We've set up lots of our own businesses online. Over the years, we've built this framework called the Baton framework, which we will be referring to. And today in particular, we want to just focus on the first part of that framework, which is business. It's working out, okay, what is my core business? What parts of this business and what units of value can I take and start to deliver now that the business environment has changed? So it's really kind of drilling down to the core basics. So yeah, sure, we could just run off and start talking about Instagram and TikTok and all the different tools. That's not what this podcast is going to be about. We're always going to start with the fundamentals of business first, before waving, shiny new toys like TikTok in your face. It's always going to come back to the fundamentals, and that's something we can promise you, and something that we think is going to be useful moving forward.
I hope that's a relief for some people, because often you find online, and it's not saying it's a bad thing, but the focus is exactly on that. How do you hack TikTok? How do you get 1,000 people watching your TikTok video? And it's great because it almost feels like a smash and grab. Like, that's great, I've got a short-term win on one particular platform, but the dangers are also very real with focusing your entire business on one platform, which a lot of people are experiencing now on Facebook, as an example. Those who've had fantastic organic reach on Facebook are suddenly having nobody see their post. And all of a sudden they got to find a marketing budget. I recently saw somebody who's a personal brand. They do like artwork, poetry, and things online, and they said their revenue via Facebook went from about £15,000 a month to about £3,000 a month the moment Facebook switched its algorithm. And I thought that was fascinating. And they were saying to their audience, do I have your permission to advertise? Because if I don't, you're not going to see my posts. And they were really uncomfortable with the idea. So I think there's a danger there with just focusing on one particular idea as such.
Yep, and it's relinquishing control. And right now, especially during this time, when the business environment has been so affected by the pandemic, control is what we need. We need to start resting back into our business and our personal lives, taking control of the things we can control, and realizing there are some things, whether it's a virus or whether it's Facebook's algorithms, that are outside of our control. So we should not be focusing our energy there. We need to be focusing on what we can do something about.
Absolutely. So just to give some context, although me and Carl did start our first workshop, we are not experts when it comes to the events industry, organizing events. We're not personal trainers. We don't have, although we have live consultancy clients and we go physically see them, it's very easy for us to say, hey guys, we're going to do a Skype today instead. Whereas people who are personal trainers, who have yoga classes, they teach industry specific things, whether it's communication or public speaking or whatever it is, in a live environment where the student gets the maximum impact. That's not our field of expertise. Although we have clients like that, me and Carl don't physically do that. So the Slack group here is going to be phenomenal in the sense that give us your questions, because although we're going to talk about things broadly, without your questions, we can't give you a perfect, refined answer for your business. Hopefully that makes sense. Yep. So I guess, Carl, this is how we would do it. If we were in somebody's shoes, looking from the outside at an events industry, how would we approach things now? How would we change our business model?
Sure. This is us coming at the problem wearing our digital marketing, our online business spectacles, and we work with clients in this respect. But obviously, we'd want to talk to people who are, boots on the ground, actually in this situation right now, so that we can come up with ideas together. And that's why the community is important, and that's why we're going to be spreading this conversation over time, so that we can react to questions that are being asked and to your actual specific concerns. And we're here as a resource to help with that.
Absolutely, because we're not doing anything. We're in lockdown as well, so we're at home. Apart from the clients that we service, we are at home. So we're at your service for however long this goes on.
So take advantage.
Take advantage of us, and especially Kyle. Because Kyle, how long have you been doing this digital marketing and not being in a conventional job as such?
Well, I mean, I only ever had a conventional job when I was about 18. I worked in a bar and I was a cycle courier, but after that, that's about it. Gosh, I guess the first big online business was about 10 years ago.
Okay, so basically, Carl's been doing this for about a decade, and that's a long time when you consider the industry it's still quite a new industry.
Well, the industry changes so quickly as well. If I'd been doing it for 30 years, well, I couldn't be doing it for 30 years, but it changes so quickly that just being in the industry for that kind of time is... You learn a lot, and we're going to be trying to bring what's working now to your businesses. That's the idea here.
Absolutely. So let's get focused on this niche, which is events. So what is the obvious things, I guess, that people can do immediately? And we're seeing it. We're seeing people do it.
Yeah, we are seeing this, and it wouldn't be a very exciting podcast if we just said this, but people are starting to do classes online, obviously. So they are setting up Zoom, they're setting up Skype, Google Hangouts, whatever it is, and delivering their yoga class or their CrossFit class or whatever it is to their existing students. That's fine. Some of them are doing it for free in order to, I guess, keep the regularity and make sure that their previous customers come back to them after the crisis. And some people are charging. So there's two different ways to do that.
Yeah, and I think just for my personal commentary, I think both are okay, because they're really dependent on where you are currently in your situation. If you are A startup, look, you need the revenue. If you are the way your business is structured is that it pays you a salary, and without that salary, you're financially going to be in a difficult space. Then charge. I mean, look, at the end of the day, you are providing a service. If you are able to do it for free or reduce your rates, look, that's a bonus, and I think your audience will appreciate that. But everybody right now is not, and it's not easy to say because we are going through financial difficulties in some of the businesses that we have, but not everybody is. There's a whole bunch of people who are working from home and getting paid full-time salaries. There's a whole bunch of people who are continuing to work because they have essential works to do, and that they can't physically work from home. So I think it's okay to charge, and it's okay to do it free. So the reason I say this, Carl, I'm seeing a lot of people abusing people online who are having to sell maybe a bit harder than normal, because they are financially strained. They've got an events business, and now what they didn't do was focus online prior to this. So now they're going from a hard events business not being online to suddenly like, oh shit, I need to get online ASAP. So they're selling harder.
Join my Zoom calls, and it's £20 an hour for the Zoom call. That's what I've been seeing as well, and that's. So over the last couple of days, I've been having a look at what people have been doing and trying to come up with a better solution. And I think, fingers crossed, I think I found something.
Okay.
We can discuss that.
Sounds good.
Discuss that.
So
the obvious is just to do that, is to get a webcam. You can get a decent webcam for 50 quid, or just use one on your laptop, and to do Zoom classes, to do Skype classes, whatever tool you're using to get your existing students, or to go out there and try and find new students and charge a come to the class fee. There's I was looking at, it's called Fuse Fitness. They're a small independent studio in Brixton, London. They're clever. What they've done is they're saying, all right, normally you would pay, I think it's £8 a class to come physically. Instead, you can come to any of our classes via the online, and it's £20 a month. I think they're doing 3 or 4 classes a day. So you get a lot of value. Like if you were to actually do these classes, fantastic. At £20 a month, that's fair. That's okay. And that was one good example. But we want to talk today about going a bit further than that.
I tell you who I feel has nailed it, and I don't think they did it intentionally, but I don't know if this is the right name, but I saw this Pelican. I think it's a Pelican bicycle where Peloton, and they allow you you're cycling in your literally bedroom or whatever, however they advertise it, and your class is live streamed to you. And this was way before any of this happened.
Yeah, they're in a good position right now. So their business model is, so right now I'm in Canary Wharf, and Peloton have I think it's Peloton have an actual shop next to the Tesla showroom, which gives you an idea of their market.
Perfect.
But they sell these very expensive bikes on financing plans, and then deliver these online courses. They're doing fine, I'm sure. They're doing really well right now. So that's an example of a business in the niche who set up from the get-go for online. They're entirely online. Maybe you can go to physical studios, I don't know, but it's really for people who are at home. They give you a high-end bike, they give you an iPad, or you use your own iPad, and then you connect into their online lessons. They're set up for the get-go for online, whereas a lot of the individuals, a lot of the smaller studios right now are in this weird position where it's like, crap, I've been doing 3 yoga classes a day for the last 5 years at the local yoga studio, but now I have nothing. So what do? I need to gear up. So it's that transition, which is really tricky for a lot of people.
The transition is tricky, and hopefully we can help with that. But also, I think look at other case studies like them and say, what can I do in advance of something happening like this again? And so I think we are having this discussion at an opportune time, because if we can help a lot of people do that, because look, it doesn't happen overnight. To get a whole bunch of people to pay for your online yoga class does not happen overnight. If I see how long Peloton's been going for, I no doubt it's going to be a long time.
And they had a lot of funding too, and good branding. But so what we're hoping is from this, yes, we're talking about emergency measures right now. We're talking about what you can do right now to make sure you can keep paying your bills and keep eating. But a lot of this stuff you can continue to do in addition to your physical classes. In
So
addition,
Peloton's been going on since 2012. So that should, if my information is right, founded in 2012. So this does not happen overnight. Period. And no business does.
and I imagine they're not talking about it, or I doubt they're talking about it. But I imagine right now they're doing extremely well, and some businesses are. The
Zooms, all of these companies are doing extremely well.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to the focus. So what we're saying is, what we're saying, Carl, is everybody can. The easiest thing to do right now is just to switch online. There's plenty of tools out there: the Zooms, the Skypes, a live stream like this. You can live stream into a private group on Facebook. You can have a Slack channel where it depends on if you're video orientated or your advice or consultancy based. You could have a Slack channel. There's other things like Slack as well. So where's the next step for this conversation?
Sure. I think part of that transition is working out who exactly you're going to be talking to. So yes, obviously it's going to be your current students. My mum, for example, she does Pilates. They've moved to doing Pilates online every Wednesday or whenever it is. So it's just the existing students are now doing online and paying a smaller rate. That's fine. That's the easiest thing you do. You go to your existing clients, you say, this is what I'm doing. These are the times, these are the prices. Are you interested? Nice and simple. The great thing about online, though, is that once you've set up a Zoom class or a Skype class, there's no particular reason why you need to stay delivering that content to just the 5 people or just the 10 people. As opposed to being in the physical world, the world of atoms, where there is a certain number of people you can fit into a room. Once you move online, once you're in the world of bits instead of atoms, we can take that same content and we can deliver it to a much larger number of people. So if I am a yoga teacher and I do a Kundalini yoga 30-day challenge or whatever it is, instead of me doing it with the same 5 people, I can now talk to 50 people. I can now talk to 100 people. And that's not going to negatively affect the quality of my teaching for the other people in the room. That's the key thing here.
Yeah.
It also means that we move from I might have been charging £15 an hour before, and I had 10 people in the room, so that's £150. Now I'm charging £1.50 instead, and I have 100 people in the room. So I'm making the same amount of money, but it becomes a volume game rather than a cost game. It's not about charging a high price. It's about lowering the price that I'm charging, but giving that service to more people. And this is the first thing that we can do when we open up to online. And to do that, we need to work out who our potential audience is. When we are offline, it's who will come to our studio, who will come to our physical education.
And it's normally geographically located. It's somebody comes, you may have a room in the gym. You may be an instructor who operates out of a large branded gym. You may have your own. If you're in events industry, you'll be advertising to your audience. So what's the best way? And I guess what we're really identifying here is there a market size? Who's our market audience? And taking a data-driven approach rather than a gut feel approach.
Sure, and importantly, not going too big, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh yeah, everyone can do yoga." It's like, well, that's not helpful. When we're marketing, we need to narrow it down, because unless you have a budget the size of Nike or Amazon to be able to talk to everybody, you need to restrict who it is you're talking to so that you can better deliver your message to those people.
Think about it as if there's a famous article like a lot of marketers do anchor to, which is 1,000 true fans. So think about, imagine just having 1,000 loyal customers that are going to continue to pay you X amount based on whatever you do. And it could be yoga, it could be PT, it could be you have a online support group, whatever that is. So think of it like that. Whereas let me get the 1,000 first, and then let me think about scaling beyond that, because the temptation, I guess, Carl, is, you look at these celebrities, you look at these amazing marketers online or businesses online, and I'm talking about actors and all these people who could have a massive, who's a good example of this? So one of the Kardashians launched a makeup brand, bang, $1 billion in sales pretty much overnight as such. So some people have that leverage. So we feel like, oh my God, unless I'm doing that, then I'm not going to make any money. But scale that down to 100 people, 200 people, and then aim for 1,000 people, and you might find that financially you are well have achieved your financial goals.
Well, I mean, let's stick with that 1,000 numbers.
Okay.
So the article Harms is referring to here is called "A Thousand True Fans" by Kevin Kelly. It's quite
Yeah.
an old article, but he talks about, yeah, sure, you don't need 25 million followers on Facebook because most of those people aren't going to be purchasing anything from you. If you can get 1,000 people who will buy anything you put out because they love you, they love what you do, they love the value that you create and what you do for the world. Let's say you have 1,000 people and they're signed up to a £30 a month membership. That's £30,000 a month.
Like, well, let me scale it down, because we
that many people.
You don't need that many people. So we spoke about a yoga class, right? Let's assume that somebody pays 15 quid to go to a physical yoga class. Mm-hmm. What if they paid £5 for this premium online yoga class? It's, you shoot it in a room, special room in your house, etc., and you charge people £5 for that a month.
I mean, that's what I was about to say. We can make this a lot easier. £5 a month.
That's £5,000 a month. I mean, that is probably more than what the majority of yoga teachers or PTs or anybody doing physical events are earning. I think that's
£5 a month is it's a small ask.
And if you look at
people,
if you look at the Amazon Netflix model, look, they have probably done a hell of a lot of data research to work out what people are comfortable paying. What would somebody pay for that's that they won't want to cancel from? They just don't feel it. I guess that's what I'm saying. They go for the $7.99, $5.99, $4.99. So looking at big companies as an example here can help you as well.
I can go all MBA here and talk about price elasticity. I'm not going to, but
no, that'd be too complex at this stage.
There are financial models behind this. Is okay. What can you charge? At what rate can you charge? And people will still buy, and then when does it start to drop off? So if you're charging £50 a month for yoga, probably too much. You won't.
You might get 2 months out of them, as an example.
Yeah. But if you were charging £5 a month, that is at the point where people are. It's almost too low to bother cancelling.
If I went to Starbucks or Costa or any other company, got to be conscious of names. I don't really know how we do this online, but that would probably cost me £4 something.
Yeah.
A cup of that. So people don't feel it.
Yeah. So this is the kind of level we're talking about. You don't need 25 million Instagram followers to generate an income for yourself. If you are a sole operator, an individual running these kind of classes, if you can get 500 people, if you can get 1,000 people, which online is a very small amount, if you can get that kind of number paying you on a regular basis, a few pounds a month, £5 a month, gosh, I mean, £30 a month, if you have enough value to give them, then that is enough to support you extremely comfortably.
Extremely comfortably, yeah, especially through times like this. So how can we look at the data? And I don't know if you've got anything prepared here, but
I'm going to use my
sorry to put you on the point. Favorite tool. Okay, so let's look at the data here, because it's okay for me and Carl to say, look, you can get 500 people who are interested in yoga, but what's the process behind it? Just to check that we have a good, sound business model before we go and start to attract this audience.
I'm going to fiddle around with these. So I can hide you. I'm not sure if you're still. If you. Oh wait, no. What I do this and then get rid of your video.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm audio only. But what I'm going to do whilst you introduce that, I've drank 3 cups of coffee, so I'll be back in 2 minutes.
So I will mute you in that case.
I'll mute myself. When I'm back.
Okay. All right. So I will introduce this tool. This is one of my favorite tools. Actually, there's a few. This is sad, isn't it? That I get very excited about Facebook analytics tools. But what I want to talk about is the fact that, you can say, oh, I'm just going to market to everybody who does yoga. I'm just going to talk to everyone who does CrossFit. It's too expensive to do that. Instead, we want to find a particular niche of people. We only need that 1,000 people that we were talking about just now. We need to find these people and talk to them repeatedly. So instead of talking to 1 million people and spreading out, spreading really thinly, the amount of value we give to them. We instead want to talk to a much smaller group and deliver a huge amount of concentrated value for them. So this means we need to go online and look at some of the information that is available about the size of markets, and we can also at the same time learn, are we talking to male, female, or no particular gender markets? What kind of age groups are we talking to? What kind of education levels? What kind of interests? What magazines do they read? What TV shows do they watch? We can get all of this information directly from Facebook using this tool. You can see you're still muted.
That's cool. I'm back.
There we go. I've unmuted you.
Back.
So as I was just saying, Harms, I'm going to jump into Facebook Audience Insights. What I want to do is do it with, do you know Yoga with Adrian?
Yeah. I mean, me and Gina, my beautiful wife, we always watch her stuff and and do yoga. Do yoga. No, we just watch it and say, that must feel great once it's done.
She's got a cute dog too.
Yeah, the dog just floats about. I mean, she's nailed it. She's absolutely nailed it online.
She's great. So we're going to be looking at Yoga of Adrian to learn about the demographics and who is watching her, and then we're going to use that information to kind of narrow down who we could be talking about. This is just an example. Depending on your niche, you want to come to this tool here, facebook.com/ads/audience insights. You can also just Google Facebook Audience Insights, and that should put it up for you. But
all right, Carl, you're going to have to do this because Gina's in the car park. She's got shopping that she needs bringing up.
Go for it.
I didn't tell her I was going live right now. So you do this, and I'll should be back for when we give them the ultimate plan we think we should be focusing on.
Yeah, well, better be quick or I'll ruin it and do it. I'll tell you.
Okay.
See you in a second. Oops, muted. There we go. The joys of live. So this is Facebook Audience Insights. It's one of the tools that Facebook provides their advertisers with. It is free to use, and because this is how Facebook makes money. They make money when we create adverts. You can see there's a create ad up here. Just make sure you can definitely see this. Yeah, you can. So what I can do here is, can you see this? Interests. I can plug things in here. So let's say I'm interested in, I want to know people who buy Samsung TVs. Oops, Samsung. Oh, that'd be good. Go Samsung TV. So I'm interested in globally. That's weird, it didn't work. Let's just put in Samsung. Galaxy S9. Why is this not working? I'm going to refresh the page. Audience Insights will give us all of Facebook's information on these particular. Okay, let's just go straight to Yoga with Adrian then, because for some reason Samsung is not playing nicely. So Yoga with, here we go, Adrian. So if you are a yoga teacher, great. If you are in another niche, you'd put in a company name or a famous YouTuber, Instagrammer, celebrity in that particular area. So if you were doing CrossFit, for example, I think you can put in CrossFit and that will give you what you need. If you do Pilates, you can also just put in Pilates. You could do yoga. The reason I'm doing Yoga with Adrian is because I want to focus on the audiences who consume yoga content online. So if I just put in yoga by itself, that would be offline. Same with CrossFit, obviously. That's going to be people who are going to CrossFit studios. So ideally, I would find the name of a famous YouTuber who does CrossFit and put them in here to get the same kind of information. Anyway, let's dive in. So I want this to be all ages. So let's go 18 to 65. I'm leaving gender as all. At the moment, I'm putting in no location because I just want the widest amount of information possible. Then I'm going to click on demographics here. So this is already giving me a massive amount of information. There are on Facebook about 500,000 people who have liked or in some way interacted with the Yoga with Adrian brand. So this tells me that the size of the market around Yoga with Adrian is about 500,000. This is 500,000 people worldwide who are interested in learning yoga online. These are people who could be, if you teach yoga online, they could be your customers. Okay. And then we can look at all information that Facebook has about them. And this is really useful when we're starting to decide who our online audience is going to be, because we can start to adjust what our message is. So right here, if I was looking at this, I would say we've got 93% female and 7% male. If I was marketing to this particular audience, I'm going to be going with a very heavy female slanted marketing plan, obviously. Married is a much higher percentage. Can you see these numbers at the bottom? This is the percentage difference compared to the average Facebook user. So disproportionately, the people who follow Yoga with Adrian tend to be married. Don't know why, but this gives me the information. They also tend to be highly educated. This is the maximum level of education. So compared to the average Facebook user, the people who follow Yoga with Adrian are 228% more likely, so 2.3 times more likely to be postgraduates. They're university postgraduates, and they are minus 61% less likely to be just high school graduates. That's what these numbers mean. I can also see what kind of jobs they work in. Down here, I can see what pages they have liked, so I can start to build up a psychographic, a psychological profile of who they are. So Yoga with Adrian, yoga inspiration, they like Shika style, don't know what that is. Obviously lots of yoga things here, daily Om, Shasha, I can pull this up. Okay, makeup studio training center, that might be something that's interested. There might be something I can do with yoga and makeup potentially. Elizabeth Gilbert is a favorite writer. Favorite blogger is 100 Days of Real Food, etc., etc. So you can go down and you can get a huge amount of information about the people who are interested in studying yoga online. I can now jump into location. I think this is going to be US focused. Okay. No, not okay. Top countries are United States of America. So 40% of her audience are in the US and 11% are in the UK. That's not that surprising. And then everyone else is going to be different countries. If you were focusing on a national celebrity or a national hobby, then we could use top towns and cities. So actually London is massively disproportionately into Yoga with Adrian compared to everywhere else in the world. London is 500% more engaged. So we can get a huge amount of information here. Not all of this is going to be useful, but it allows us to start to build up a profile of the audience that we could be talking to when we go online. Now, we're not asking you to become the next Yoga with Adrian. Instead, what we're going to do with this information is we are going to start to niche it down and use it to learn more about the people in either your local area or nationally to you. And the reason we're doing this is we don't want to necessarily become, well, we do want to become a global brand eventually, if that's what you want to do, but it's not very easy to do straight off the bat. So instead, we want to start locally, nationally, and then kind of expand out like that. So what I'm going to do is I still have Yoga with Adrian selected here, but I'm going to click on location and put in United Kingdom. So I would do this if I am a yoga instructor and I want to do something similar to what Yoga with Adrian is doing, but do it in the UK only. Already I can see that my audience has fallen by a factor of 10. So it's 10% of the size of Yoga with Adrian. That's fine. I'm still seeing a high female skew. I'm still seeing mainly married people, mainly highly educated, probably similar types of jobs. So education, that means there's going to be a lot of teachers who are into this. Page likes, I imagine, are going to be the same. Oh no, we've got some different ones. So we have travel. Travel is a big deal with the UK-based Yoga with Adrian fans. I'm also seeing non-governmental organizations like Greenpeace and Friends of the Earth. This was not showing up when I did it globally. So this tells me that the UK followers of Yoga with Adrian are more into these kind of causes, more into these kind of issues. Davina McCall, Chris Packham, Green Party, interesting. And then I've got some clothing brands, Sweaty Betty, Fat Face, etc. So there is slightly different information here because I'm now focusing in just on the UK. Location, obviously top countries is no longer going to tell me anything because it's 100% in the UK. But now I can look at the top towns and cities and get more information. So Edinburgh, Aberdeen seem to be highly skewed. I imagine London's quite a big one here somewhere. There it is. So 11% of the audience are in London. So again, we can get a lot of information from here, which tells us these are the kind of people that we can be focusing on moving forward. The best thing about this audience insights is it actually gives us numbers. It gives us data. And obviously, this makes me more excited than maybe it does for you. But if you come in here and you cannot find your particular niche, that means it's probably going to be too small and it's not worth focusing on online. And at that point, you need to decide, okay, what can I do to expand it? What can I do? What else can I add in order to find the tribe of people and my audience that I want to talk to online? The other issue is if I put in something like yoga, it's going to be too big. Generally, we're not really going into this in detail today, but generally we want to find an audience of about 1 million people. So if I put in yoga by itself, in the UK alone, there's 10 to 15 million people who are interested in yoga. So that's going to be too wide. The information that I get from here is not going to be that useful because I cannot focus on a market this large, which is why I'd use something like Yoga with Adrian, a far finer and a far more refined view of people who are specifically interested in consuming yoga content online rather than just yoga as a whole, which is too large, it's too big. So obviously with all of this stuff, you can then go ahead and start to contact these people directly using Facebook ads. That's not what we're talking about right now. We are talking about using this tool purely to get this information, to learn about who it is we need to be talking to online. So to get information like, okay, 90% female. If I am doing yoga online, I should go with a female focus. Of course, you might decide, no, I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to do male, and that's going to be my line in the sand. That's going to be my defining business message. Absolutely fine. But at least using Facebook audience insights, we have the data, and we can make decisions based on the numbers that we're actually seeing. Okay, so that is audience insights. Again, it's free. You can jump in and grab that. I see that Harms is back, so I'm going to bring him on.
Hello. I've been back for pretty much that whole section.
Oh God, listening to me go on about data. Thanks. Anything? Oh,
I was trying my best to stop you.
So I can't see when you're back.
I was like, stop talking about data. But I'm joking. No, so there'll be people who love that, and actually it's pretty cool. And looking at the male percentage, I think it was 7%. I'm probably a 0.00 something of that percentage. So it is interesting because the million. Hopefully you've got a benchmark now. Carl's basically said to you, if your audience is about 1 million, then let's say from that 1 million, all we need is 1,000 paying customers.
Yep.
And even less than that. Just look at your numbers and your pricing and say, how many do I actually need of that? And often you'll find it's crumbs.
Which is, what's that, 0.1%? Yeah, it's 0.1%.
Yeah, and that's tiny. So hopefully that makes it more doable, more achievable, because online often the feeling is, oh my God, I can't get through to anybody. But it does take some time, just take some work. But so what we've done so far is we've spoken about the conventional or the most obvious way that we can, I guess, get our offline business online immediately. Then we have to say, who do we talk to? And actually, is there an audience online big enough for our business to actually talk to anybody? If there's not, then what's the point, I guess?
And in the case of something like yoga, it's going to be too big, and we need to work out what our place within that niche is. There are certain niches like the big three are health, wealth, and relationships.
Yeah.
Most businesses really fit into these, especially online: health, wealth, and relationships. If your niche, if your focus is health, too big, it's too wide, unless you are a company like Nike and you have an advertising budget of hundreds of millions or billions even. Instead, we need to go from something large like health down to something smaller like yoga.
Yeah.
We're still seeing 10 to 15 million people in the UK interested in that. That's still, it's a lot of people to try to talk to at the same time. So we need to niche down again, and it might be people who consume yoga content online. And we saw that dropped us to about 50,000 UK if we use Yoga with Adrian. So that's a lot smaller.
That's a lot smaller. So 50,000, is that worth pursuing?
So if I was doing this myself, I would be adding in other yoga channels.
Yeah.
Of course, Yoga with Adrian is American based. So if I was in America, I would go for it using just using the information I've learned about her viewers. In the UK, I'd probably want to look into other influencers, other brands that offer online yoga, and I would also be putting them into Facebook audience insights to see what else I can learn, and that will allow me to go up from the 50,000 to I'm guessing 500,000 or 1 million. But you can play with the numbers basically.
Okay, fantastic. So I love that. So that's a summary of what we've done so far. Now, being us, we always like to go for the extra ambitious method, but also this is probably the method that we would recommend. So if anybody is up for this, so now we're going to go into a part where if anybody is up for this, this is what we would really recommend. The first part is, look, it's very easy. It's very frictionless. The tool Carla showed you there is actually easy to use, but what's the next step above that? Because online, I think people often miss this technique, and it is often hidden, but it does require a bit of extra work.
Yeah.
So Carl, do you want to start introducing that, and then me and you can have a conversation about that?
This is a question of how do we reach those 500,000 people, 1 million people. We can just run adverts to them, and we could probably reach all of them for a couple of £100 quite easily on Facebook. Fine, that's a basic way to do it. It's not what we're going to be suggesting today. Instead, Harms, you're probably part of WhatsApp groups where people have been sending around Excel sheets or PDFs of free stuff or online alternatives. So,
well, I actually did that today, literally before our chat. Somebody asked a question in one of the WhatsApp groups, which was, can anybody advise, because they're a community leader as such, as in like they have their own personal tribe as such. Has anybody got any good resources? So that resource list that we put together, that mainly, the one where you've broken down work from home categories.
Oh yeah.
So I cleaned it up and I sent that to them because they're a good friend as well. So yes, I've also been a part of sending that.
So there's a lot of, right now, because of what's going on, there's a lot of resource lists being sent around. One I received 2 days ago was, there's a really cool one, which is culture. It's all of the Royal Opera House, the ballet, the Royal Shakespeare Company, the Met Opera in New York, etc. They are starting to offer either free shows or low price streaming shows. So they're maintaining their cultural output. They're still putting out ballets and operas and shows and theatre, etc. And you can jump in and watch it live from home.
Fantastic.
So I received this PDF, which was, I think, 8 pages of all of the different shows, all of the different times, the links to go there and how much they cost. Fantastic resource. I've also received one like that, again, from another WhatsApp group, which was different ways to stay fit at home. And it had lists of YouTube channels, so people like Yoga with Adrian, who we've been talking about, as well as Fuse Fitness, which is the one I mentioned before. This was specifically in Southwest London. It's like, these are... sorry, there were 2 lists. There was one which was specifically Southwest London businesses, so Brixton, Clapham, that kind of area, and all of the online offers that they were doing. So it was saying, hey, support your local businesses in this time. Fuse Fitness are doing this. This restaurant is doing food, etc., etc., etc. Again, it was a resource list. It was a master list of all of the different businesses you could support in the area.
Okay.
What we want to suggest is that you take control of that conversation for your particular niche. There are already these lists going around, and they're being spread like wildfire because people want to help each other. And if there is a list of the top yoga classes in the UK or globally that is being sent around, if you take control of that conversation, if you take control and you help compile that list, if you put it together, if you format it nicely, if you make it easy for people to access, if you verify what stuff's good and what stuff isn't good, and you do all of that work, and then you spread that list out, you are in control of that resource list. You become a spokesperson, you become a leader within that particular community.
The host of the party. Imagine a networking event, and you become the host of that networking event. So that kind of mentality and approach.
Yep. And so I know some people are sitting there like, well, why would I want to advertise, my competitors' yoga classes? What you talking about?
Yeah. Because the resource list that you created that I've started to distribute doesn't have any of our stuff on. So like we've got lots of resources ourselves, but the question then is, and you've raised a good question, is, and it's often something that our clients always kick back at, which is, I'm sorry, we've got a database. Why are you advertising other people's? Like, say, if I'm a yoga instructor, why am I going to send out a document with all of these other competitors' yoga YouTube channels, etc., which already have a large following? Why would I do that? So that is a solid question.
Well, the first answer is that is, when you control the list, you control the order of the list, and people are lazy. So you put your stuff at the top of the list. We haven't done it. Why haven't we done that?
Because we just that's how we roll. We always like to give people. That's what we do. This show, for example, we're going to run this now, and we're just going to download everything we know. It's just what we do. It's in our nature.
Do what we say, not what we do.
Exactly. Don't do everything we say. Because look, me and Kyle are teachers by nature. We did a personality test. So before we actually became business partners, we did a really detailed personality test, and ultimately both of us are very similar personalities. We're both teachers, we're both creators. We both want to share what we have, and we get almost our fulfillment through that mechanism. So that's probably without going too deep into it, that's probably one of the reasons why.
Yeah. So the first thing you can do is obviously you put yours at the top of the list. If you've made a nicely formatted PDF, you can bold that you're offering. You can, put a big star next to it. If you're putting reviews, give yourself
the best.
Yeah.
This is the best thing to watch.
So that's one way to do it. Not very subtle, but it works. You can also brand the list. Again, if it's a PDF, if you stuck your website on it, people are going to be coming there. But the main thing here is, yes, we want people coming our way, but the main point of having this resource list is to get it into as many hands as possible. And by creating a resource list, which is not just about you, if it's just you sending your class schedule out to people,
it's a sales list.
Yeah, who's going to spread that? Nobody. This way, it actually gets spread. It gets spread naturally. And if you're in any WhatsApp groups, you probably have this. You've probably been sent lots of these lists already for opera or for local businesses or food delivery, whatever it is. You, by making it a list which includes everything, which is a genuinely helpful ultimate resource list, you can actually co-opt your competitors into spreading it for you. You can
send. What does that mean?
You can send it to your competitors and say, "Hey, I'm putting together this list of resources. You're on it. Send it to all of your the people who are looking for yoga or for services in your niche. I think this would be helpful. You're on the list as well, so you should."
I put you in 4th place. And yeah, absolutely.
But you just said, "Hey, I featured you on this list of great things. If you want to share it with your followers, please do." You could send it to someone like Yoga with Adrian and say, "Hey, I've put together this great looking list of yoga resources. Obviously you're on it because you're a great resource. I love your work. Could you tweet it out to your followers, or could you send it to your followers via your email list?" And then suddenly the resource list that you've put together is now in the hands of millions of people rather rather than you putting together a price list or a timing list, a schedule of your classes and sending it to people. Instead, it becomes a community resource that you created, yes, but it's for everybody, not just for your business. It's a very different way to think about it.
Yeah, and what I'd say is it also gets directly to them. So it's not like they have to go to a website. It's not like they're going to be directly downloading it on their computer or mobile phone. So they've got this resource list there and there right in front of them. There's no better marketing method than WhatsApping somebody via a friend, or a friend sending somebody a recommendation or a list that's come from an original source, which we want you to be that original source. So think of it as the most direct, powerful method of marketing. Because one of the things at the moment is text message marketing. It has suddenly become very popular again because WhatsApp, because people actually open them. So we're gonna see a bit of a trend which says you're going to get lots of sales text messages over time until it depletes itself. It just becomes another averagely converting marketing method. But I think
people don't open emails anymore.
Yeah, people don't, and also the emails go into the promotions tab or they go into the spam tab. So Gmail, as an example, has a specific promotions tab. I'm not sure about Hotmail and how they operate, but I'm sure it's not too dissimilar.
So we are aiming to create this resource list, which, yes, it has your brand on it. Yes, it highlights your classes as one of the resources there. Depending on how pushy you want to be, you put it at the top, you put it in stars, glitter, etc. But the main thing is, this is a really useful resource which can be spread by the community, whether it's the national, the people who do yoga in the UK, whether it's worldwide, it doesn't really matter. It's something that is so valuable that people will actually spread it around.
Yeah.
And you are going to be the curator, you're going to be the leader of this list, which is a very cool place to be in. This is also, as we said at the beginning, the most basic thing you can do is just start talking to your existing customers and doing online courses with them.
Yeah, but what you're saying here, Carl, is to get beyond those people. Let's use this. I would, so just listen to it. I would call this almost like growth hack marketing or guerrilla marketing. Think of this as that. We are in a guerrilla marketing period where we have to do stuff which is out of the norm that maybe we wouldn't, and learn some marketing tactics as a business owner that actually we would have just thought, no, I don't need to do that because I've got a steady stream of customers. Whereas now we don't, because you've taken your offline customer base, which may be 15 students a week, to online, which could be 1,000 students a month or whatever it is. So how do we get to those people? This is a very direct and potential viral way of doing that.
Yep. I mean, think yourself at home. Think of how many of these resource lists, think of how many of these links you've been sent during the Corona crisis. They're not necessarily going to be about your niche. That's fine. But these are things that are spreading by themselves from group to group to group in WhatsApp. So if you are in control of one of those lists, you're in a very, very powerful position.
And I think of it from a heart place as well, and a place of giving where you're actually just doing something useful, because say, for example, the work from home list that we created and Carl compiled actually for us is very few of those links are ours. I think none of them. I think one of my other podcasts were on there. But apart from that, there's a whole bunch of people who are going to be going into a changed environment that they're not used to. How can we help them? And I think that's just to keep it as simple as that. If you are pulled from that mechanism, and we're all pulled from different ways, if you're pulled from the need to help people, then this is a great way to do that, and also benefit off the back end as well.
And that's the reason why we put together that list, is because we're used to working at home. Whereas, I mean, I've got lots of friends who suddenly work from home who are used to the office environment, and suddenly they're going crazy. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to structure their day. They don't know about certain tools that I've been using for years. So for me to download that information is nothing. Like it took an hour to put together this list, and then we made it look nice. And that's that could be very valuable to certain people. And it's the same with you and your particular niche. You have the expertise to see what's online. You've probably received a few of these lists already. All you need to start doing is pulling everything together, curating it, using your expertise, reformatting it, making it nice, putting your one as right a place, and then spreading it out into the world.
Yeah, I think I'm going to reformat our list because I sent it out. So I'm going to put,
Make
because
it
right at the bottom I said authored by Carl Barmer and Harminder Tour. So I put that right to the bottom. But I'm gonna have that in the header.
Yeah.
Authored by these guys.
I mean,
Follow us on this social media channel. So I'm
it's
gonna
our
go
list.
rerun that. Yeah, it's our list exactly. We put that together.
But yeah,
So that's it.
putting value out into the world, putting expertise out into the world, and then saying, yeah, sure, I did this. I did this. So if you do want to come and check out the stuff we do, great.
Yeah. So what's a typical? I mean, this is going to be a lot more work than you may have expected, because this could take you half a day to put together a really quality list and then start to send it out and say, look, this might be useful. This might be useful. So what happens after that? So we know. So the first part of this is create a free resource list that we're going to send out to people.
And tomorrow I want to specifically talk about how we put that together, how we make it look nice and stuff like that.
Awesome. So join us tomorrow for that.
It's like Canva, which is a way to make a nice looking PDF. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. I just want to get the idea of what we're going to be doing.
Fantastic.
But so the next steps will be, you've got this, let's say it's a 20-page PDF of all of the online fitness resources, all of the ways to stay fit while you're at home. Fantastic list. People are sending it around. We want to have a mechanism for getting the people who have received this PDF. We want to get them into our orbit somehow. We want to get them into our tribe, we call it. Obviously, one way is people signing up directly for our classes, but we ideally want to have something that's even lower friction. And we'll be talking about that in 2 days in particular. Did you want to outline it today, or?
No. I think that's a good time because otherwise it's information overwhelm. I think let's break this down to pieces because the idea of this week is we're focusing on offline events / businesses that have to physically interact with their clients, and how we can take that online and how we can also get new people, as you've seen some audience tools there, but how can we get some new people to this and during this transition time to actually see what you're going to be offering. So I think the principle right now is sound. I think you've given them a massive guerrilla marketing tip on this today.
Yeah, this is the one thing that we want you to take away is we're going to create something of massive value, which to you right now, you're probably thinking, no, I just need to get people signed up for my online classes. I just need to generate revenue. Instead, we're going to spend a bit of time creating something of massive value and get it out into the world to help as many people as possible. And then over the next few days, we're going to be talking about how this will directly benefit you as well. Although you're excited just about helping other people. And
it depends what pulls you, and there's no judgment there. It's really very much where are you and how has coronavirus affected you? How has COVID-19 affected you? To be more specific, because we are all intertwined. This is probably, Carl. This actually was a wake up for me to see how literally connected we are. We're almost connected like domino pieces. If one of us falls in this market system, we all start to get affected. Some people don't, some people win, but the majority seem to be struggling in this transition stage. So hopefully this has helped today. And again, there's no judgment here. So how can we help each other with tools? And we're at home anyway, so we got no choice. We're going to help you. Awesome. So I think that's it for today's show. I'm super happy with that. If you join us tomorrow, we're going to be going on to the next part of the baton model, which is audience. Now, how do we attract an audience's attention? That's the focus tomorrow. And we'll give you some more tips there.
We've already started to talk about, we're talking about the mechanism, how we're going to do that. Tomorrow, we're going to be going through the details of how you compile this list, how you curate it, and how you make a really nice looking document to get out.
Nice. Yeah, so let's do a live list with them, one that we can then redistribute. Maybe we repurpose the one that you created, and we brand it up, and then we get this list out there.
So I'll go through the steps I used to research it as well, and we'll basically recreate it live, and then show people how we would make it look really nice. So yes, we will do as we say.
We'll do it live for you guys because this is happening now. We're 2.5 or just over 2.5 weeks into lockdown. If you're watching this at this certain time in history, I don't know when you're going to be watching this, but it's what can you do during this time that is going to benefit you the most? How can we adapt? How can we try new things? So I think give this a try. Stick with us this week and give this a try and see what comes off it.
Yep.
Awesome.
And if people want to ask questions or join our community, there's going to be a link below that will take you directly into our Slack community. You do need an email to sign up for Slack. Slack's free though. We don't get the email. I don't think we do.
No, we don't, because I tried it. We don't get the email. The email goes to Slack, so they can verify that you're a real person before they let you into the Slack channel. So that goes to Slack. Slack's a global company.
It's all free. Yeah, they're a huge company. So it's not a weird tool that you're giving your email to. It's all free. Our channel is free. We'll be in there to answer questions, and hopefully you can go through the process of building this list and starting to rebuild your business during this troubling time.
Yeah. And I think this is a special Slack channel that's been set up for the BBO show. So there's hardly anybody in it. So it's pretty much me, Carl, and a bunch of other people. So now's the time to do this, because my intention is to do this with Kyle for as long as possible. So the greater it grows, naturally, the less interaction you're going to have with us. So I think come join us as soon as possible so we can start having that conversation.
Cool. So yeah,
awesome.
Down below.
Fantastic. Right, that's us done for today. Thanks for joining us on the first episode of the BBO show. And it's bbo.show, which will be the URL in the future. But we're not bothering with that at the moment.
Cool. Great. We will see you tomorrow then, same time at midday.
Midday, same time. See you tomorrow.
Every day. Bye.
Bye, Carl.